Hey everyone, it's Renz. Welcome back to the channel. So I recently just purchased a PlayStation Portal and wanted to give you guys my quick thoughts after using it for the past few days. I purchased this device so I can play PS5 pretty much anywhere around my home and still play games even if my TV is occupied. I don't have a dedicated gaming setup, so I usually just game on my LG C2 TV. And gaming on this TV is an absolute treat because of its high refresh rate and crystal clear OLED panel. But since this is my wife and I's main TV, I usually have to schedule gaming sessions just so I can use the TV to play games. So instead of bothering each other for TV time, I opted to give Portal a shot. So in this video, we'll be going over some pros and cons of the Portal and if I think it's worth getting this device in 2024. Let's get right into it. As of filming, the PlayStation Portal is now really easy to buy. When this first came out, it was always sold out. I was able to get mine from Best Buy, and with tax, it came out to about $218.99. I'm not usually impressed by the packaging for PlayStation products. They're pretty plain and simple, but I was pleasantly surprised when opening the Portal up. The box that the Portal came in was nice. It had small details like PlayStation branding. In the box, you get the Portal and a USB-C cable to charge the device. When I opened it for the first time, I was super impressed. It feels so much like the regular DualSense controller. It has the same familiar buttons and layout. You have your D-pad and joystick. The share button is to the left, along with the PlayStation home button at the top and power button. On the right side, you have the right joystick. It has the standard PlayStation icons found on regular controllers, along with volume buttons at the top with the mute button. Under the Portal, you can find a USB-C port as well. When I turned on the Portal, the clarity of the display actually surprised me. Even though it's an LCD screen, it looked really sharp and vivid. The 8-inch 1080p LCD screen is thin, but a good size and doesn't feel like it's too big or small. One main concern for me was if the controller felt too stretched on its sides, but the distance isn't too bad. I was worried if weight would be a factor, but the Portal is actually quite light at only 528 grams. Setting it up is easy too, just make sure your PS5 is turned on or on rest mode. Just turn on your Wi-Fi and then connect to your PS5 and you're pretty much good to go. The Portal actually had trouble connecting to my PS5 at first from my office, so I had to get closer to my PS5 in my living room before it finally connected. Other than that, it was a pretty easy process. Compared to remote play on the phone or iPad, using remote play with the Portal felt like a nicer experience. The display is vivid and sharp and the resolution is okay even at 1080p. Now I do admit I am a little bit spoiled because a majority of my devices like my iPad or TV have really high refresh rates and like really crystal clear displays. Going back to an LCD screen felt weird. It's not as snappy and fast. Now speaking of screens, one thing I love about the Portal is that the screen itself is part of the controller. No need to connect to your phone or even an iPad with controller setup. The Portal is ready to go once it's connected. Since everything is ready in seconds, it makes gaming that much better. The viewing angle is quite solid too, and you can freely tilt the Portal without losing quality. I tend to tilt it slightly for more comfort with longer gaming sessions. Now speaking of comfort, it feels awesome. Since the Portal is quite light, it doesn't feel heavy at all. There's also no learning curve with the Portal either. Everything feels familiar, especially with the controller, and gaming just feels right. To enhance the experience further, the Portal also has DualSense features. There's vibration, haptic feedback, and adaptive triggers. There's even lights on the side of the controller to match whatever game you're playing. Now I wish it had the touchpad button though. The workaround is to touch the screen. Two of these buttons are a virtual replacement for the touchpad. Battery life is also quite good. From my testing, it got close to 5 hours with my brightness at 100% and my volume at 50%. This is awesome since I can play games in my living room or in my bed without needing to worry about charging it. In fact, the battery was never a problem the past few days of using it. Okay, so how does it actually perform when gaming? Right off the bat, it's enjoyable. Single player games like God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 are super fun to play. It really does feel like I'm gaming on a PlayStation controller. Swinging across New York City as Spider-Man is awesome on the Portal. One thing you have to keep note of is that there is a slight input delay, so if you're playing games that need fast response times like first-person shooter games, it might not be as fun. I tested games like Call of Duty and Apex Legends and it was not enjoyable at all. It was just way too laggy and choppy and I prefer a really fast 120Hz screen for that. So if you plan on playing first-person shooter games with this device, this is something to take note of. Surprisingly though, Fortnite was not as bad as I thought it was. I actually had a solid single-player battle royale game and it was not laggy. Granted, I was on no build mode, so it might be different and might get choppy with regular build mode, but it wasn't bad. I was able to play comfortably on no build mode. One game I play all the time is 2K24, and with the Portal, it's also pretty decent. I was actually surprised that I was able to time my shots effectively even with that slight input delay. I also played a couple of online games with real people and it was super fun. There was like no lag and I was able to knock out a few games without any complaints. The game ran really smooth. But where the Portal really shines is its single player gaming experience. Games like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart are so fun, and what's great is I can even have a movie playing on my TV while I play games, which I couldn't do before. It's just nice to have that option. Usually I have to wait for my wife to finish watching TV before I can start gaming, and now I can just use my Portal. The speakers on the Portal are decent, but not the best.
Only a few more seconds.
At full volume it sounds muddy, but yeah, it gets the job done. There's a lot of things to love about the Portal, but there are some things I just don't like. First is there's no Bluetooth connectivity. Want to connect your AirPods? Nope, not possible. You actually have to buy a Sony PlayStation Link compatible headset. Luckily, I purchased the Portal in 2024. Headsets like the PlayStation Pulse and Explorer were already out before the Portal's launch. I have the Explorers and connected them to the Portal, and with this combo, it's incredible. The Explorers are super comfortable and provide great sound when gaming. I prefer to use the Explorer earbuds rather than the speakers because it's way more immersive. Also, something to keep note of if you don't want to bother the people around you while gaming. The Pulse Explorers are $199, and honestly, that's quite pricey. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. Bluetooth connection would be awesome, just not something that comes with the Portal, so keep that in mind. One major thing that can also make or break this device is that it requires decent Wi-Fi. It's recommended that you have at least 15 megabytes per second or greater for best results. If you have a home Wi-Fi, that shouldn't be a problem. The problem you're going to run into is if you want to play outside of your home. You need a really solid internet connection. What annoys me is that places like Starbucks offer free Wi-Fi, but to use it, you must go through a login page. Now you can't do this on the Portal like you would with your phone. Connecting a public Wi-Fi that requires a login page is not doable with the Portal. This isn't a deal breaker for me though, because I know this could possibly be solved with the firmware update. But how is gaming on the go? It's a hit or miss. My hotspot is not the fastest for gaming. When I did attempt to play, it was quite choppy. There was a connection warning at the top right of the screen. Now, I don't think that playing on the go or playing mobile is actually what the Portal is for. It's more of a bonus if you're outside, you happen to have your Portal, and you happen to have like a really strong internet connection. And at that point, you're better off just getting like a mobile gaming device like a Steam Deck. This is if you plan to game while traveling. For my use case though, the Portal will be played mainly at home. There's also no media function with the Portal. You can't browse the web or even go on YouTube. This is literally made just for remote play gaming. And on top of that, you can't even stream a game from the cloud. This is understandable since it will probably need a very strong internet connection. Another con is there's no option to play games locally. Granted, if they did do that, it would increase the price of the device. But for something that costs $200, $150 less than a Nintendo Switch, that might be a deal breaker to some. I already have a Nintendo Switch, but if I had to choose between the Portal or the Switch, I would probably go with the Switch as my main gaming device. I do wish the classic OG PSP is going to make a comeback in the near time future. That would be awesome. So, is a PlayStation Portal in 2024 still a good buy? Well, there's a couple of things that make it worth it. First, it's perfect for people who want to play PlayStation games at home. They can do so pretty much anywhere without bothering anybody. This is already super helpful. It lets me game while my wife binge watches her favorite TV shows, and I don't have to wait for her to finish. I can see this extremely helpful for people with kids too. After a long day from work, parents can still game in bed without having to bother the kids. The gaming experience is still enjoyable, especially with single player games. Now, one of the games I want to challenge myself to finishing on the Portal is Red Dead Redemption 2. I've heard so many great things about this game and I've never actually played it, so I think it would be a pretty cool challenge for me to finish it on the Portal. There are a few quirks to owning a Portal too. First of all, you need good Wi-Fi, and if you plan to game away from home, you have to find a stable connection. You also have to be okay with lack of Bluetooth support. I, however, still think the Portal is worth it in 2024. Even with all these quirks. It's not meant to replace a full gaming experience on the PS5, but it still gives you an enjoyable and familiar experience. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Portal is still worth getting in 2024? Do you own one yourself? What has your experience been like using the Portal? Let me know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more content like this one, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But other than that, see you guys in the next one. Peace.